Welcome back to the Everyday People podcast. My name is Vaibhav and thank you so much for listening in. This is the third episode of this podcast, and if you've never heard one before, know that it is perfect for driving, cleaning, or doing other mundane tasks. You get to enjoy a conversation and also get insight from someone else. And speaking of getting insight, there's a lot to learn from today's guest. Today, I speak to Mr. Arun Jaganathan, who is an entrepreneur and English teacher who started a coaching company called Crack Verbal in Bangalore. Fun fact, he was the first person I interviewed in this audio format. That is, I called him and I recorded the phone call. And we spoke for about 35 minutes and I got to hear his inspiring story of how he was an entrepreneur on the side for 10 years. He started a career in IT, decided it wasn't really for him, and started doing this training and teaching business on the side. And ultimately it became big enough that he moved to Bangalore and he decided to make it his full-time career. Listen into this conversation for how he feels about the Indian education system, his advice for young entrepreneurs, and his love for teaching and coaching. I hope you enjoy this conversation and I'll be waiting for you on the other side. So hi, thanks for taking this call. How are you, man?
Good, brother. So I just wanted to know, now I guess I'll be telling you my background, but I want to know what's up, what did you do?
I'm sorry, can you, I couldn't catch that. You cut out.
I'm saying what? I'm just saying, what have you been doing and what's your background? Just wanted to know a little bit more.
So I'm a tech writer. I'm actually a professional writer and my day job is at Oracle. I just do these interviews for as a side project on my blog, just to showcase people, their lives, and to say that, everybody leads an interesting life. And to give that sort of inspiration that, yeah, sorry?
Something very interesting. So cool. I just want to, I had Ratna tell me. Mm-hmm. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? So, very interesting that you're able to, at least take your interest and do something about it.
Yeah. So normally I just ask 5 questions, but I do that in a text format. So this is the first time I'm doing an audio thing. I thought maybe we'll just talk and we'll see where it goes, and then I'll condense it into 5 later.
Sure.
So I always start with who are you, what do you do, and what is your current side project. So let's go there.
Sure.
I don't know you, and anybody who will be listening to this won't know you. So who are you and what do you do?
Right. So, I think I'll just, probably start with the background. So I actually, if you look at it from my experience, my education, so actually, so I'm a Tamil, but I grew up in Gujarat.
Okay.
So my father had a transferable job. So growing up in Gujarat, I was a kid who, was in college in the late 90s. Right? And late 90s, there was this whole buzz saying, hey, you have to get into the IT bandwagon.
Yeah.
So in some sense, you could say I was ill-advised because my talent and my passion clearly did not lie in technology. But, you don't go and tell a, 20-something that, hey, what is your passion? What is your strength? It's all unheard of, man, those days. So, it was basically survival of the fittest, right?
Right.
So I did my MCA. But what happened is when I was doing my MCA itself, I realized that, computers wasn't really something that I liked. And, just as a natural thing, I used to like to teach people, right? Like I used to teach my classmates, I used to teach, juniors. So I had this knack of condensing fairly tough technical stuff into, easier, human consumable, data. So it so happened that, I also got an opportunity to teach computers for the first time. And one of my friends, he had that there used to be this company called Aptech.
Okay.
And they used to run this course called some B.Tech from British Columbia. I didn't even know where the hell British Columbia was, right? I thought maybe it's somewhere in Europe or someplace. But so they had this tie-up with this Canadian university and to teach databases.
Right.
So though I like teaching, I hated computers, right? So I was like, man, it's just stuff that I like doing, but it's really not stuff that I like. But when I was teaching, I also realized that I was good at standardized tests. See, all these MCA, MBA interns, right? Back then,
Right.
I was preparing for it. So I was good at standardized tests. So I thought, okay, why don't I teach, but why don't I teach standardized tests? So resume and stuff, and I applied to this chat coaching company called IMS.
Okay.
And, this lady looks at my resume and says, well, I hope you're not a paper tiger. I remember this because I had written all these, essay competitions and debates and this and that I had won. So when I actually went in front of the class and I took a class, that's when I did it. So they started giving me more classes, and I kind of got into this whole test prep teaching space.
Yeah.
Baroda is a small place. I used to take a class, post IMS, I went to another place called Career Launcher.
Okay.
And I used to teach, my passion was such, I used to teach 7 to 9 in the morning. Then I used to actually go to my office, work, and then, in the evening, just go home, change clothes, come back 7 to 9, batch in the evening, and then I would have doubt solving from 9 to 10:30.
Right.
And I would actually pull the shutter down, lock and come back. I actually had a key service center. That's the kind of motivation, passion I had for teaching. But I never thought it's like full-time, right? It's always something that you did on the side, you did more as a part-time. So I came to Bangalore. So once I came to Bangalore, again, so my biggest problem coming to Bangalore was for a guy growing up in Baroda, tend to look at Bangalore as this place where, average communication is slightly better, right?
Yeah.
So initially my confidence was a little low, saying, hey, that's okay, I've taught people, right? But in Bangalore. But fortunately, I got a couple of gigs and, I kind of started teaching in Bangalore. So this was the time that there was an online forum called Pagal Guy, right? So Pagal Guy used to be pretty big back then. I'm not sure right now what is the status. So I was involved in, I used to give advice to people online, and somewhere I made this transition from CAT coaching to GMAT coaching. This happened around 2005. And I started teaching at Kaplan in Bangalore. And I used to give advice to students. So at some point I said enough, because my day job also, started getting a little hectic. I said, this is like, too much. I don't think I'll be able to handle this. So I actually quit teaching.
Yeah.
But because of Pagal Guy, because of this I'm talking about 2006.
Okay.
I had a lot of students come up to me and say, hey, why don't you just help us? Why don't you teach us GMAT? And I said, sure, why not? So we used to meet at this place called Airlines Hotel. It was off Lavely Road. And the good thing about that place is, waiters don't come and bother you. You just, you ask for coffee. But it's like the Starbucks of the 90s, right?
Okay.
People not come and you just order and stuff. So I used to call students, and since I was a verbal faculty, and the reason I became a verbal faculty is also because, see, in the industry you get one faculty very easily, but you don't get verbal faculty.
Right.
So to teach both quant and verbal, I predominantly started, and that's where, people, made me a verbal faculty. So I used to have these sessions where I would tell, I'm going to teach you how to crack verbal.
Right.
And that's where, I started with, crack verbal as, the two words that came together. But when you something for, and then these sessions are usually like 3 to 4 hours, and, I have endless coffee, like, at the end of it. So, and I started seeing that people for free, they started having this, like they would say, they would come up, right?
Yeah.
So once I remember I called, there were about 8 people were supposed to come and 2 people. And I said, screw it, yeah, I don't want to do it. It's like, people are not even respecting your, and then someone said, why don't you, which is like, because 3 hours you said is not enough. You have enough content to teach the whole day.
Right.
Like a workshop where you teach them and you charge some money for it.
Right.
So the first workshop that we conducted in 2006, we essentially said, we'll teach you everything that I know about GMAT, verbal, and the session or the program was really called Crack Verbal, right? That's how the name came.
Yeah.
And I created a website. Those days, I had a Yahoo startup pack or some crap, which helped you create a very simple HTML.
Yeah.
So I created a website and I did the math. Of a hotel is going to cost me 300 rupees per head. That's the number that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And for 2 days, it's 600 rupees. And they had a minimum commitment of 15 people.
Okay.
So I said 9,000 rupees is the damage that possibly can happen.
Right.
I set the price of the course at 3,000. And
Mm-hmm.
I said if 4 people turn up, it's a profit. If 3 people turn up, it's break-even.
Yes.
Right? Then I advertised my network and eventually I got about 6 people.
Okay.
Funny side note, I know Ratna from back then.
Okay.
But I told her that, look, if people don't come and, it's an embarrassment for me, you just come over and I'm not going to charge you anything. And I just wanted more people to come, right? Because if people want...
Yeah. So, I mean, business aside, one thing, but like, even if you're offering a service and then you want somebody there at least to consume the service.
Right. Correct. So I had about 6 people in the first batch and that kind of gave me the, twist in the arm.
Yeah.
So I used to conduct these workshops once in a while. I used my network, my brand, people that I to spread the word in Bangalore. And soon enough, I started seeing people coming from Hyderabad. I saw people coming from Chennai. Correct? So it became a little more of this. But unfortunately, I had to travel as part of my work. So since I was traveling, I couldn't obviously conduct the class. So right. 2007, 2008 pretty much went off like that. 2009, I said, enough of this kind of thing. Go ahead and let me, restart things. So I restarted in 2009. What I realized is people were not, are not going to remember stuff that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years is a long time. So this time I went and advertised, and earlier I would get like 5-6 people, but this time I was not getting any because they didn't know me, right?
Right.
So then I said, okay, enough of this. I have to make it more consistent. I started doing more batches. So 2009, I think we did about 5 or 6 batches the whole year.
Okay.
We started getting 10, 12, 15 students. That's the first time we broke the 2-digit mark.
Okay.
And this time, so earlier we had 3,000. So now I realized that the more you charge, the more premiumness the brand gets.
Yeah.
So I used to charge them 9,000.
Okay.
And it was 2 days. I made it into 4 days. And all of this was in a hotel. I didn't have any office.
Mm-hmm.
Have any, kind of staff, so to speak.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would actually have one of my friends come over, just tell them that, look, it looks odd that this guy, but this big money, this guy is also, doing everything else because I was a one-man show. So I also got my wife involved. So she started when we have,
right.
toys and things like that. So 2010, it so happened that she had an opportunity to, quit and start this full time. So
okay.
2010, she basically took the plunge and she started doing the sales. Because with my full-time job, the other thing is I was a delivery manager for a CRM product company, right?
Okay.
And I had project managers reporting to me. So you can understand the hierarchy, right? So
right.
you have the, technical guy, the project managers who would report to me. And
okay.
here was, sometimes making calls to people with, 1 or 2 years experience in Infosys. Mm-hmm. And they basically were people tell me, hey, I don't have time. Can you call me later?
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, right? Because
It
when
is.
you're starting off, the last thing you want is, man, look, listen, I'm telling and I'm taking out time helping you, right? Don't try to act like this. But see, one thing that you learn as an entrepreneur, which is, when you start off, you are everything, right?
Right.
As a chief executive officer, you are the chief plumber, right? You are the chief, as a chief garbage man.
Right.
So, that's a very humbling experience, and I think any entrepreneur should go through that phase. So then, 2010, we actually set up our first office because we realized that we were having these 3 months, and it didn't make sense to rent out a hotel. Cost-wise, it wasn't working out. So we have this small office in Chenmark Road, first office here. And I quit my job full-time in 2011.
Right.
2011, we probably, was the time when we really took off. 2011 to, I would say 2011, 2012 was the period of consolidation, right? So in terms of turnover, we crossed 1 CR in 2013, right? In terms of turnover. From there, over the last 5-6 years, it's been a journey, where growth is measured not just in terms of revenue, but growth is also measured in terms of the impact that you are able to create, right?
Right.
And personally, for me, it's always things that I learning and keep doing. So that's pretty much the whole journey.
That's pretty amazing, man. From being in Baroda and then not only having a day job, but then 7 to 9 you're teaching, and then 7 to 9 again in the evening you're teaching. That requires a level of commitment. It is pretty amazing. So your company is Crack Verbal. Do you guys provide now entire GMAT coaching, or are you still is there a focus on verbal?
What has happened is we have decided consciously not to change the name. So we continue with the Crack Verbal name. Mm-hmm. But if you really look at we added Quant to it, and we now have GR, and we also have added admission services.
Right.
So GMAT, GRE, and admission services, we are the 3 pillars of our business today. And people look at it, hey, Crack Verbal, so tell me something about it. But apart from that, people are not saying, oh, these guys are not into formulas. The name itself is like Cafe Coffee Day, correct?
Yeah.
So if you go there, you'll get, but hey, they just get the name. So in some sense, that's the way it's worked.
Yeah, so it's become like a brand as companies tend to become.
Right.
So it's pretty serendipitous that we talk today, because I've been recently introduced to the idea of taking GMAT and going abroad to study very recently. And so I gave a couple of mock exams, and I got 660 and 680 without any preparation whatsoever. So in your professional opinion, do you think I need coaching, or should I just practice on my own and then just go off and give the exam?
See, what happens is when you take the test and when you figure out what your scores are, you reach a point where you realize that whatever I have to figure out, I've figured it out. I know how to get to that 760 mark, right?
Yeah.
That's option A. Option B, I'm doing everything, but somewhere I'm missing out something. I'm unclear why my scores are not going up. And, so I would recommend coaching for people who are in the second category.
Right.
So at some point, because see, the cool average score shooting up, you are looking at as high a GMAT score as possible.
Yeah.
The days of saying 700 is a safe score is gone.
Right.
So that's where, you need to figure out whether you are able to get there by yourself. A lot of people get 760 by themselves, right? I mean, it's not that everyone goes for coaching.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. I think it's also in terms of discipline. So I think people who end up studying by themselves, they don't have the discipline. Sometimes signing up for a course, gives you the discipline and gives you the, kind of rhythm, right?
Right. So
that's what I would say.
I understand. So I'll come back to education later because it's a core part of your life. But I just wanted to ask quickly, are you doing something on the side beyond your attention on Crack Verbal? Now, this can be a personal development project for you, or it can be a side business or whatever. Do you have something that's demanding a lot of your attention right now other than your work?
So I did whatever, to a large extent, Crack Verbal. But last year I had one of my friends from Baroda, and we were discussing about this whole thing, that how English has been something that has helped us grow careers. And he said, that why don't we get into teach English, right?
Right.
So we started our venture, English for India.
Right.
Now, English for India is actually a venture where we approach corporates and we help them train their staff, which is usually a customer face, people who are typically 10th, 12th pass, and we teach them functional English, right? Conversational English. We give them the confidence to speak, to how to approach a customer, so on and so forth.
Right.
So we have got Yuma as our customer. We've got Food Hall, which is a gourmet food specialty store. We are now going to be for a 5-star hotel in the hospitality sector. We have had Glaxo sector. So we've got a few very good plans at the start, and I'm like, kind of going off back to I started Crack Verbal, right? So now I'm the person who's actually rolling up the sleeves, doing things. So what had happened in Crack Verbal, to a large extent, the team was so good that things themselves. So I had less to do.
Right.
And this is where, English for India has really come at a good point where it kind of rejuvenates when you do something, all over again. So quite helpful, so to speak.
That's very nice, man. So I'm getting a sense of who you are as a person, where I'm getting like, okay, you enjoy teaching and it's a big portion of your life where even your side venture is related to teaching, and then you're an entrepreneur, you enjoy the aspects of getting your hands dirty and, really getting into it, which is pretty great. So my next question to you is about the state of teaching in India. So since you are in that industry, we know it's generally accepted now that education is extremely important. Do you feel that there is a certain knowledge gap or a training gap for teachers in high schools and colleges today? For me, for example, a lot of Indian colleges that I've had experiences with, they tend to behave more like schools where teachers are still treating students like children, and then therefore the students never learn to become adults. So that has been on my mind recently. So in that context, do you feel like there's a certain rehaul that we need to do of the Indian education system, or do you think it can be salvaged from what we have right now?
Right. Big question, because this is obviously something that I hold very dear, because see, I'm a teacher, correct?
Yes.
And I have a daughter, and I've told my daughter that if someone asks, tell them I am an English teacher.
Right.
So what happens is, there is a certain stigma attached to the fact that someone is a teacher.
Right.
And this comes from the fact that generally, respect in India, fortunately and unfortunately, is given to people who have money.
Yes.
Okay? So I would respect you if you're like a, like you're doing something, but you're making money, people will respect you.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't make money, you're like a loser. So I think when I started teaching, if you kind of look at it, one of the biggest challenges, so to speak, right? So confronting this reality, correct? Because when you're in corporate, what happens is you have a team, you have a visiting card with a title, correct? Now you take that visiting card away, you take the title away, and you kind of take all the traps, the thoughts of, correct?
Right.
And you suddenly are a teacher, you go in front of a class, and you're teaching them.
Okay.
My respect for teachers, or my respect for, let me rephrase it, my respect for good teachers, right, has always been there. So I said, okay, since I'm a good teacher, people respected me. People never came and said, oh, you are a delivery manager, suddenly you are a teacher. Right? Nobody, even my ex-colleagues, they've always admired what I did.
Right.
Nobody has really made me feel that, oh, you are doing less important work. So what I also, other part-time faculty that we have in Crack Global, consciously I try to attract people who are like me. Right? So today if you see the other faculty at Crack Global, be it the people who are in-house, there is Aditya, there is Shivaji, there are people who are very accomplished. See, they can get a job in the corporate world anytime.
Yeah.
They are so good. But they have willingly quit that life and they have, kind of teach.
Right.
Same thing for the part-time faculty we have. So when you have very high quality faculty, right? Because according to me, that's what I set as the standard. Nobody's going to join a Crack Global today because they got a fancy app, right?
Right. They're coming because they're good teachers.
They are good teachers, correct?
Yeah.
So I think what's happened is you should have that pride, that being a faculty at Crack Global, so we routinely get people from ISB.
Right.
And our ratio of selection is 1 by 10. With 10 people who apply with a great GMAT score and with a great pedigree, one person gets in. So you can imagine it's a very tough process to be a faculty at Crack Global, and that's what you need to make people aware of.
Right.
So, hey, you know what? Not everybody can be a teacher, correct? Everybody can be a software engineer, but not everybody can be a teacher. So the moment you create that thing, and it's not about money, right? I think respect of the is more important than money. I think that's where, will have to change, because in India, what happens, if you look at it, anybody who can speak a little well, right? Why would you want to be a teacher?
Yeah.
He is going and joining a call center, or he is going and joining there are so many jobs available for people who can speak well. So teachers are not getting the respect. So I think first that has to change and have to be put on a pedestal. Correct. That, according to me, is the only way to change things. Money, to some extent, can, but I don't think it's a long-term solution.
Right. Ultimately, to bring respect back to teaching, you have to put respect in. That's ultimately the solution.
Correct. Right.
I see. So it's very convoluted in that sense. Okay, so I'll move on to another aspect, a different question then for you. As an entrepreneur, now currently the Bangalore scene for entrepreneurship is very high. It's become like a meme almost, that every 100 feet you'll find a new company and an entrepreneur. So that can only mean, is there any problem with entrepreneurship becoming a fad? Or do you think there's only good things there because new companies reinvigorating the economy and it's just everybody trying something new? What is your opinion on the current entrepreneurship trends in the country?
Right. If you realize I am in Gen X, right? Generation X is the one before millennials, correct? I think fundamentally, if you look at it, I wanted to teach. I started teaching in 2001, right? I quit my full-time job in 2011.
Yes.
And in those 10 years, I had hundreds of hours of teaching experience. I had a very ringside view of how coaching works, correct? I was involved in, the marketing and sales, and I used to give advice to wherever I used to teach. But it took me 10 years before I had the confidence to quit my job. Really knew my trade, right?
Right.
I knew the tools of the trade. I was very, very, very good at it, correct?
Right.
What I see is, so probably quit in 2005 and I've done this full time, correct?
Right.
But what I see now is a lot of people getting into entrepreneurship for the glamour of it, right?
Right.
What for me was like, a fear has turned into be a glamour for a lot of people, the millennial. one of the problems with that is, or rather there are two problems with that. One is, you really don't know whether that's really your passion, correct?
Correct.
So you pick up an idea just because a friend thinks that it's a good idea and you kind of discuss and you start off and, see what happens when you start something when you really don't have that, when you don't have your heart in it, is the moment things go wrong, okay, it's very easy to quit.
Yeah.
Right? You kind of quit. So I think that's what is happening, where a lot of people trying 6 months, 1 year, and they quit. And very honestly, if you look at my first 6 months or 1 year, you would have said I should have quit. Right?
Correct.
So I think first, I'm not sure whether they're starting for passion. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, it took me 10 years to make things look effortless. Right? A lot of hard work that went into making something an overnight. Okay. So I think, it also has a certain level of commitment, which I'm not very sure that a lot of people are willing to do. Right? Just hard work, right? Just learning digital marketing can take, and you're out of your comfort zone, right? So I think these are the two reasons why I feel a lot more startups are shutting down. I think, this whole concept of a startup is, starting up on your own, and persevering it, using your passion, using your skills, putting in your hard work. That, I would say, is probably 20%. 80% of it is millennials who are bored with their day job, correct? And they just feel that entrepreneurship is cool. Right. And, the coolness quotient goes off very, very fast. In about 2 months, you'll realize it's not that cool. Right? So that's where I think there has to be some education, some amount of awareness that, hey, if you are looking at entrepreneurship, here is a good side, here is the bad side. You need to do your math. You need to understand what before you make the plunge.
Right. But then would you say that the only way to know if you want to be an entrepreneur is to be an entrepreneur? Because our education and training doesn't really gear people towards entrepreneurship. It's more to train people as workers or, join as an employee. Our school system set up to make you an employee. So would you say that entrepreneurship, even though it might be a fad, is a good thing because people have to try entrepreneurship to know if it's for them or not?
So what I usually tell people who are looking at entrepreneurship is, what would you do if you were to be an entrepreneur? What is it that you would do tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what your day is going to look like? If they're not able to answer this question, I tell them, don't put.
Right.
You should see today moonlighting, side hustles, very widely accepted, correct?
Correct.
So continue with your full-time job, have that monetary whatever backup, correct? And then
moonlight.
Doing what you want to do.
I'll adjust the question for you then. Let's make it direct. If you had to give 3 key pieces of advice to young entrepreneurs, what would they be? Right. And I'm guessing your first one is keep your day job and then work on the side.
Yeah, I would say keep your day job, work on the side, and try, kind of doing various things, right? So that's my first thing. The second thing is, in terms of, in fact, actually I said earlier, right? So second thing is pick what is your passion, correct?
Right.
So there is this online test called Strength Finder, right?
Okay.
See, no matter what people say, build on your weaknesses.
Right.
You know what was the most terrible part of being in IT? It is waking up every day morning with the realization that I'm going to lead a life of mediocrity.
Yes.
Because I was probably not the coder. I would have never been the best coder. So all the effort, actually nobody wakes out of bed saying that today I'm going to live an average life. Correct?
Yeah, nobody.
And you can have an exceptional life just only when you are things that you're really, really passionate about, things that you're really good at. Correct?
Correct.
So I think there is this, where you have these overlapping circles, right? Where one is, things that you're good at, things that you're passionate about, things that can earn you money, and things that the world wants.
Right.
And all of these circles, when they kind of converge, is when you really have, yes, correct?
Right.
So that would be my second advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the third advice is, I think, you have to be constantly learning new things, correct?
Right.
Have the confidence to know things and say what you know, but at the same time have the humility to know that you don't know everything, correct?
Correct.
So even today, I'm constantly learning, right? So I attended a session from another trainer, and I was just noticing how she is able to engage the audience, and I was just making mental notes to myself saying I have to improve what I'm doing.
Right.
So at no point, even after years of teaching, I am still learning how to teach better, correct?
Correct.
So you're constantly figuring out your idle thinking, I know everything. So I think that is the third, you probably need to cultivate.
Okay. So that's pretty amazing. Like, these are standard. So some of them are like common advice, but then when you put it through the funnel of your experience, I think it comes across better. So thank you for giving that advice. My last question to you is there anything that you want to directly address the audience with? Now, this you can plug Crack Verbal here, or if not, if you want to give a sort of piece of content or an idea, you want to direct people somewhere, where would you direct them? And you can directly address the audience here.
Right. So I think one thing is, if you look at the motto of Crack Verbal, it's meant, right? So I think a lot of times I've had students who have wanted to do something, especially while they are working. They want to their masters, or they want to do an MBA, correct? And somewhere I feel people limit themselves, but I think, my goal is to help students reach the maximum of their potential, correct? Either through GMAT, GRE, right? And I think that there are a lot of myths that there is the market which says, doing an MBA is very expensive, or the H1 visa is, so bad that you can't get a job in the US. So I think there are a lot of myths, but what I would really advise them to do is there is a profile evaluation that we do, okay, and I can probably give you that link. So people should evaluate that profile. We do a free one-on-one counseling where it's more of career counseling, but we actually help answer this question, right? That do you need MBA? Because today the world is about upskilling, okay? And just being a graduate may not be enough to cut, as you go up your career.
Right.
If you think higher education is there for you and you would like to explore that, I can probably do we can do a consultation where we can help you define what your goals should be and how to get that.
Okay. So can you give us that link, Arun?
I will do one thing. Message you that link?
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, that's the end of this interview. Thank you so much for talking to me and sharing this time with me, talking to me about your life. Any last closing thoughts? How was this process for you?
No, that's about it. I thanks a lot, Babu. I as you can see, right, probably I've got other interviews, but I'm a teacher, so it comes out in the way I, speak. I might be a little, pontificate. I don't like it, but I also always like to tell that, look, I'm telling my life story, right? And, you can pick whatever you want from that, right? So it's left up to the audience to see if there is something that helps them and they pick up from that. But thanks a lot for asking me the questions. It was very interesting to do this.
And that's it. That's the conversation I had with Arun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love any of your feedback wherever you're listening to this. I will make sure to check it out. I gave myself some feedback because this was the first time I recorded a podcast conversation, and it went fairly long. So I've thought about how to make it more consumable and easier for me to edit down into the text version of this post, and that will come in the weeks to come. So I hope you will be there with me on this journey. Thank you again for listening in, and I'll see you later.